Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are focusing on one of the most complex sectors out there, government contracting, GovCon.
It's a challenging space for sure.
Absolutely. And our mission is really clear. We're digging into the whole landscape of DCAA compliance and ERP optimization. We're essentially trying to pull out the key lessons from 2025 so you can build a rock-solid strategy for 2026.
And if you're in the GovCon space, you already know compliance isn't some final destination. It's a moving target. And this past year really highlighted that with more auditor scrutiny, more digital transformation.
Right.
It just underscored the need for really robust systems and, frankly, proactive strategies. So we're going to look at how a platform like NetSuite ERP, if you set it up right, can give you that critical compliance edge.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What were the big shifts last year? The key challenges of 2025 that really set the stage for everyone's goals now in 2026?
Well, if you boil it all down, there are really four major trends that redefine the whole landscape. And the first one, maybe the most disruptive, was the increased focus on real-time data and analytics.
I remember this really picking up steam. It's not just about a perfect report 6 months late anymore, is it? They want to see the plumbing while the water is still running.
That's the perfect way to put it. The DCAA is pushing hard for transparency, for efficiency. They're demanding access to live data, pulling it directly from your ERP system.
Directly from NetSuite.
Exactly. And the implication is huge. If you can't provide that auditable data on demand, your audit is going to be painful. The contractors who could do it quickly, they just had a much smoother ride. It proves that integrated systems are not optional anymore.
That really changes the game, moving everyone from like a reactive mode to continuous monitoring. Okay, so what was the second big story? I know it's not purely financial, but it's definitely connected now.
It is. It's the unavoidable progress of the cybersecurity maturity model certification, CMMC 2.0. Now, CMMC isn't a direct DCAA thing. It's from the Department of Defense. But it has a massive impact on how contractors handle controlled unclassified information, or CUI.
And this is where I think some people get confused. Why does the financial auditor, DCAA, care about DoD cyber standards on the finance team's network?
It's all about the integrity of the data. Your financial records, the insight here is that a strong cyber posture is now fundamentally linked to your financial compliance.
Okay.
If you have a breach, it doesn't just put technical data at risk, it immediately casts doubt on the integrity of your financial records, your timekeeping, your general ledger, everything. If the system is compromised, how can the DCAA trust the numbers?
That makes perfect sense. Systemic trustworthiness. Got it. So for anyone tracking that, the CyberAB website is still the place to go, right?
That's the one. The definitive source.
Okay, so let's pivot back to dollars and cents. The third trend, I'm guessing it's the old headache of cost allocation.
It is. The evolution of indirect cost rate scrutiny. It was a huge focus area in 2025. DCAA really refined its approach, zeroing in on the reasonableness and the allocability of every single cost.
And I have to imagine the whole remote and hybrid work model just threw a wrench in the works there.
A huge one. The complexity just spiked. Auditors were looking really closely at how shared services and G&A expenses were being distributed.
Right, because you can't just use office square footage anymore.
Exactly. How do you allocate home office stipends or a subscription to a collaboration tool? You need a method, a real demonstrable method to prove that the cost actually benefits the contract. The DCAA's Understanding Indirect Costs booklet is still the best place to start for that.
And the last one. As more firms move to cloud ERPs like NetSuite, what was the big emphasis?
Data integrity and audit trail verification became completely non-negotiable. With the move to the cloud, DCAA auditors are demanding strong internal controls built into the system.
So they want the system itself to be the cop on the beat.
Pretty much. They need systems that prevent unauthorized changes, that track every change, and provide a clear history, that audit trail from start to finish. They need the who, what, and when for every entry.
And the assurance that it hasn't been tampered with.
That's the key. So if 2025 was all about these new audit realities, the question for 2026 is, how do we actually reconfigure our systems to meet them? And this is where it gets really interesting, the practical NetSuite strategies you need to implement.
Okay, let's start at the core of Gov accounting projects. What's the first strategy?
It's mastering enhanced project accounting for government contracts. NetSuite has some really powerful tools for granular cost tracking, automated revenue recognition, and, real-time profitability analysis.
You mentioned automated revenue recognition. You said it was essential for ASC 606 compliance. For listeners who aren't accountants, can you just quickly frame that up?
Sure. It's basically the standard for how you recognize revenue from contracts. For GovCon, it means you have to map your work obligations to the contract terms perfectly and only recognize revenue when you meet them. NetSuite's automation just ensures you don't mess up that complex calculation, which is exactly what DCAA looks at.
So what's the tip for our listeners on this?
Don't just stick with the out-of-the-box setup. You have to regularly review and optimize your project setup, your billing rules, your revenue policies. Use the automation. Get rid of the manual workarounds. Let the system enforce the rules for you.
Okay, strategy 2. This one sounds like it hits that audit trail issue right on the head.
It does. We call it leveraging advanced audit trails and reporting. NetSuite has a great inherent audit trail. It tracks everything, but just having the data isn't enough. You have to be able to pull it up instantly.
So it's about being proactive, not waiting for the auditor to show up at your door.
That's absolutely the strategy. The tip is this. Customize your saved searches to monitor compliance indicators all the time. If DCAA checks something weekly, build a search that you run weekly. And pre-train your team to generate these reports so they can hand them over before the auditor even finishes the question.
That kind of speed and confidence has to be a huge asset in an audit.
It's massive.
And the third strategy hits the biggest cost risk: labor.
Yes. Integrated time and expense management. Labor is the most sensitive area for DCAA, period. So the goal is integrated timekeeping directly inside NetSuite.
Why is that so critical?
Because it eliminates data silos. Those separate spreadsheets or third-party apps, that's where unallowable costs and errors come from. Integration kills that problem at the source.
So how do you make that bulletproof? What's the practical application?
You implement strict system-enforced approval workflows, and you build your travel and expense policies directly into the NetSuite interface, mobile or web. If the system itself prevents a non-compliant expense from being submitted, you've moved from correction to prevention.
So what does this all mean when you look at the full picture? We've covered the challenges from 2025 and the solutions NetSuite offers for 2026. But for firms trying to get from that standard, out-of-the-box NetSuite to a truly GovCon-ready, auditable system who helps them build that bridge, the sources really point to a specialized partner like Daston.
That is the critical link. Configuration is everything. An ERP is just a piece of software until it's tailored for the unique, frankly stringent rules of government contracting. Daston's approach is built on 3 pillars that directly solve the challenges we just laid out.
Okay, let's break those down. What's the first pillar? The foundation.
That's NetSuite implementation and optimization for DCA. This is where that specialization is just essential. Daston configures NetSuite to meet those strict requirements from day one. That means setting up your project accounting, defining your indirect cost pools correctly.
Which solves that remote work G&A problem.
Exactly, and implementing compliant timekeeping, expense management, and building out the reports that give you those bulletproof audit trails.
So it's not just about making it work, it's about making every single choice auditable from the start. Can you give me a specific example of that?
Sure, a great one is configuring the work breakdown structure, the WBS. That's the map that aligns your internal accounting with the contract tasks. Automating cost allocations and revenue schedules based on that WBS is complex, but it's exactly the kind of precision that DCAA demands now.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to pillar 2, proactive support.
Right. This is proactive compliance consulting. The Daston team knows FR, DFARS, and CAS inside and out. The focus is on building a year-round strategy, so you're not just reacting to an audit letter.
Hang on, just for the listener, can you quickly explain the difference between FAR, DFARS, and CAS?
Think of it like this. FAR is the main rulebook for all federal contracts. DFARS is the specific supplement for the Department of Defense. And CAS, the cost accounting standards, that's the auditor's Bible for how you have to account for your costs. Daston helps you navigate all 3 at once.
And what kind of proactive help are we talking about?
Things like pre-audit readiness assessments, internal control reviews, and direct help preparing those really important indirect cost rate proposals. It's about finding and fixing issues before they become official findings.
And the third pillar brings us back to that intersection we talked about earlier.
CMMC preparedness within NetSuite. They recognize that cybersecurity and financial compliance are 2 sides of the same coin now, so they provide guidance on using NetSuite's own security features to help bolster your CMMC posture.
What's a good example of a security feature in NetSuite that helps with CMMC?
The most important one is probably role-based access control, or RBAC. It ensures people can only see and do what's necessary for their job. That's a key part of CMMC, and it also enforces separation of duties for financial compliance.
Right, so the person entering a bill can't be the one to pay it.
Exactly. And beyond those core pillars, they offer things like building custom audit dashboards, so all your key data is in one place.
Which goes back to that real-time data access trend.
It does. And of course, there's comprehensive training and support, ongoing system health checks, and data migration expertise if you're coming off an old legacy system. All of it is designed to keep you compliant and ready.
It seems like that's the whole package.
So as we wrap this up, the takeaway for 2026 is pretty clear. Success in GovCon depends on using ERP automation, maintaining those stringent audit trails, and being aggressively proactive on compliance, both financial, like DCAA and FAR, and cyber, like CMMC. It all has to work together.
It's all about integration now, tying finance, IT, and compliance into one seamless, auditable system. So given the scrutiny on audit trails and this inseparable link between finance and CMMC, here is our final thought for you to explore. How will this demand for system integration and data integrity fundamentally change the skill sets needed for financial controllers and GovCon firms over the next few years?
Will they need to be equal parts finance expert and cybersecurity literate?
Something profound to mull over as you optimize your systems for the year ahead. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into compliance and optimization. We'll catch you next time.